Hi YouTube, Make My Marvel here with another review. This is the Sideshow Thanos and Mistress Death diorama. This is the exclusive version, and that head that's on the Mistress Death, that is the exclusive part of the statue. I'll get into that in a little more detail. And since this is a diorama, this is the same size as a comic cat, but they made a diorama because it came with the two pieces, and I'll get into that in a little bit as well. All right. Okay, so first off, doing this video review, I've been meaning to review this piece for a while, and then I watched Rad Titan's review of their Thanos from XM, and want to give a shout out to the guys at Rad Titan. Great couple of guys. They do a ton of awesome reviews. They're extremely hilarious to watch too. They get a great sense of humor. And this happens to be George's favorite character, is the Mad Titan Thanos. And I don't believe they have reviewed this piece yet. I don't know if they've had the chance to see it in person. So I want to try and get them a detailed video of this, especially George, so he can enjoy it until he gets a chance to see it if he hasn't. All right. A little history of this piece. This was originally supposed to be a comic cat of just Thanos. But then Sideshow decided that, they can't do Thanos without Mistress Death. So they decided to make it a diorama. Well, they didn't want to make this any smaller either, so they decided to make a 1/5 scale diorama and add Mistress Death to it, which is a great addition. It really really adds a ton to this piece. Now I'm going to review Mistress Death first. She's not as detailed as Thanos, so give you guys the look first. Let me tilt her back a little bit in the light. This head's stuck on by a magnet, so that's the exclusive, and it's the skull version of her head. Now, I think the camera's doing a pretty good job of picking up the purples and the blacks of her costume. She's fully sculpted, and you can see extremely sexy, extremely well done. She's really skinny. You can see her hip bones protruding because she's supposed to be like a skeleton underneath, but she's also got, still flesh and everything. You can see her a little bit of muscle tone, but they made her real skinny. Let's see if I can get a little detail on the hands and the fingernails there. This might not want to, kinda. Anyways. Just trying to get the skin texture a little bit if I can. They painted the fingernails pretty well. It just does not want to cooperate. Sorry guys, apologize. Here we go. Alright. The, her costume there, they've done a good job of tearing, kind of like making her cloak and look a little ratty around the edges. They did a great job of giving it a nice flow to it, making it look like it's blowing in the wind, and it's all ruffled up. You can see how it's kind of chipped up and roughed up around the cuff. It flows out nice. And then she's on a little rock base. Okay, let me pause it. I'll put the regular head on her so you can see that as well. Okay, and that's the head for the regular edition. Okay, I'll tilt her slightly back in the light so you can get a good job of. Her face is painted and sculpted flawlessly. And granted, there's no pupils to mess up, but the lipstick's perfect. It's really nice, weird blue shade that they gave to it. Really well done. And then again, the hood sculpted the same way as the exclusive is, but it's seamless. You can't see the seam runs right in here. You can't see it at all. The way they sculpted this on, and the magnet comes on and off. It's just, unless you point it out, unless you know where it is, it disappears right when you put it on. It's perfect. All right. Now, a little more history of this piece. Now, when the prototype was first launched, there was a peg or a peg hole in this base here, and the peg or peg hole in this base here. And this was actually made to attach to the front of this base. Now, they did away with that, so you could kind of put, this statue wherever you wanted to, which I think is real nice. I'm glad they didn't leave the peg there, so it doesn't force you to display her in front of Thanos. And I'm going to hold her there for you just because the platform I've got her on isn't huge, but I'll get you a shot of how the bases line up together by me holding her. And all right, so if the lighting works, you guys can kind of see. There we go. So she lines up right up in there. You can see the seam of the rock. And that's how she lines up right in that base. So they designed her really well. So if you wanted to display her, right here, she fits in and tucks in real nice. And, that's the overall shot of kind of how her and Thanos would be displayed like that. Now, as you can see, she's hanging half off because the shelf that I've got her on doesn't, it's not wide enough for me to display her like this. Plus, I don't really like to display her like this because she's in front of Thanos and hides a little bit of that battle damage and stuff. So I'm just going to gently and carefully move her back. All right. So you can see she hides a little bit of the cape, hides a little bit of Tony's, Stark's mask and stuff, and we'll get into this as well. All right, let me just pause it, and we'll get on to with Thanos. Okay, back to the Mad Titan here. The biggest critique of this statue that most people have is that Cheshire cat grin of his that he's got going on. It's kind of an odd face grin. I mean, there's a ton of teeth, and he looks sinister, though. It's probably not the best head they could have came up with, but it's still pretty neat. It's painted and sculpted perfectly. I mean, you can see the the shadowing in his chin there, and the red eyes, and I mean, as far as the actual shape of the grin, that's the only critique that usually most people have about this thing. But the sculpt and paint is executed flawlessly on the whole statue as well. He's got muscles everywhere, way more than any actual human anatomy would ever have. But it's pretty neat looking. He's got the Infinity Gauntlet with all the different gems, the Infinity Stones there. And that lights up, so I might as well light it up now. I don't know, there's a lot of light on it, so you might not be able to see the light up too well, but let's see. Oh, there you go. All right, so all the stones light up. And obviously, if the light's not shining on, it's pretty bright. The switch is right there. Little hidden switch underneath Thor's hammer. If I can get it to click. Let me go from this end. There we go. And it's off. All right. Again, fully sculpted, paint and sculpt is executed perfectly. The other critique about, Thanos is you look at his overall total physique, and he's really, really thick, really wide. And his head's kind of small on there. Now, yeah, granted, he's portrayed like that when Jim Starlin draws him in the comics. He's kind of portrayed that way. He's really beefy and stocky, and his head does kind of look small in a lot of those drawings. But I don't know, it kind of looks a little too small in this one. Could have done a better job. Now, as far as all the, the base goes, Sideshow did an incredible job with all the fallen heroes on the base. So you got Thor's hammer there, you've got Iron Man's mask, you've got Silver Surfer's board, you've got, some people say this is Thor's cape. I can't remember if Sideshow actually said whose cape it is. I always thought maybe it might be Warlock's cape, since they already have Thor's hammer. and then they got Captain America's shield there, which is, you know, really, really well battle damaged. Now, Vic, All Time Collections video, you know, on his YouTube channel, he made a great point, and it's very true that with the shield, you've got to be real careful, because if anything's going to break in shipping, it's going to be this thing. The way it's packaged close to the top of the styrofoam, and if it's going to break, if anything on the statue is going to break, it's going to be that shield. All right, let me get you guys a little group shot here, and we'll wrap this one up. And of course, the Mad Titan, as I come down the stairs into my, my little nerd basement here, the Mad Titan stands guard at the bottom of the stairs before you get into the rest of the room. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. George, I hope you enjoyed it. Alright guys, take it easy. Bye.